see nothing. Let's see. Is my glasses in my purse?
Where's your purse?
Which did he have? Somebody took my purse. I thought you had it.
Welcome, everyone. I know there's quite a few joining us online on our YouTube channel for this remembrance and memorial service, and you are welcome into this space as well. So welcome to Community Church, Unitarian Universalist. We are here to remember the life of Royal Edwin Smith. A little bit about the space that you're sitting in here. Community Church is a progressive, open-minded, and inclusive religious community. We welcome all who are on a spiritual search for truth and meaning. Ours is a faith in action as we do the work of social justice and elevate compassion in the quest to live ethically, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We will begin our remembrance for Royal with Joni coming up for the eulogy.
Hello, everybody. I just want to thank everybody for coming. I didn't know if I could get through this, but I guess we're all here, and I just thank everybody for being here for Royal's memorial. So, let me put on my glasses. Royal Edwin Smith. What do you say about a man who has lived a good and full life? Married 3 times, Royal fathered 3 children, and adored his granddaughter, Amanda. He grew up in Los Angeles, but his family of 10, including his grandfather, later moved to Riverside City, California. He was the son of John Fletcher Smith and Louise Dean Smith. Their marriage produced 7 children. It was Jackie, Royal was number 2, Brenda, Johnny, Claude and Claudette, which were twins, and then the youngest was Terry. Royal started his career as a licensed plumber in Riverside. He went back to school to become a pipe fitter, and I know some of his buddies are here today. Royal worked and taught basic pipe fitting for many years at Local 60 in Metairie, monitoring many young apprentices. His work gave him great purpose, and then he retired from ExxonMobil later in his life. What do you say about a man who was kind and giving? This is for you, John, who is in Riverside, California right now, or Parrish, California, who couldn't make the service today. John and Royal were friends from high school. If he liked you, you became his friend for life. Most of the cards, and I got lots of cards from everybody with condolences about Royal's life. They're falling down now. Most of the cards of condolences mentioned Royal's lovely smile. That's why I brought the cards, because every single card was about his smile. And he did have a beautiful smile. Most people who really knew him can say that he was a listener and a watcher. He was a quiet man who made you feel that whatever you were saying was very important. Royal believed in equality, respect, and civility to his fellow man. He was an avid voter. He always would say, if you don't vote, then you don't have a say. I believe these strong values were passed to him by his parents, who were engaged in many community organizations in Riverside. I picked 3 songs to be sung in this church today. One, Amazing Grace, and I had that same song played when my mother died 4 years ago. It's just one of my favorite songs, and I have an insert inside if you want to read it and just read the lyrics to this song. It speaks about how we all strive to be found, to confront our fears, and to become free. I believe we're all found that at an early age. And then I picked Our Love Is Here to Stay because that was our song. Talks about relationships and the history that we share, the ups and the downs, the compromising. Sometimes you go along with things that don't even make sense. Who's right and who's wrong? Our love is here to stay no matter what. And finally, I picked Blowing in the Wind because that's one of my favorite songs. I believe Raul is blowing in the wind. He always looked up toward the sky, always looking at a beautiful sunset or full moon or something going on up there. He never liked working indoors. He was not an indoors guy. Looking at nature was his meditation. Raul did not pretend to see, he could see. And I would like to send out special thanks to my friend Kathy, who has been with me as a good friend, a confidant, a source of support for me during this trying time. And to all the people who helped during this period, the girls, or the women, I should say the women that worked in Serenity Hospital, and they're here today too as well. I have their names in the back, but I'll call them out anyway. To Shelby, Michelle, Rainey, Rashida, they were there. And to my dearest Royal, rest, my dear, it was time.
So the words are with you if you'd like to sing along to Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Was grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead me on. Was grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead me on. Through many dangers and toils and snares, I have already come. 'Twas grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead me on. When we've been here 10,000 years, Christ shining as the sun, we'll know less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the
These are words from Ken Rolheiser, and it's titled The Tear of Death, or Lacrima Mortis. Often, patients who are about to die will shed a single tear, and in some instances, a second tear. This phenomenon, known as lacrima mortis, or the tear of death, is a source of mystery that transcends this mortal realm. Dying people often refer to going home as they journey to the other side, but mystery surrounds this event. Dr. Lichter studied this phenomenon in 100 patients nearing death. 14 shed a final tear at the time of death, and 13 within the last 10 hours of life. That final tear might reflect the sadness of leaving, but it might reflect seeing the face of God or the joy of greeting loved ones on the other side. In all but one case, the tears came from those when death was known to come soon, as opposed to a sudden or accidental death. Rolheiser experienced and witnessed this more than once, in that a dying person fixing their eyes on something beyond us in the room. A radiant smile replaces the pain and worry for that moment. Joan witnessed the tear of death as Royal experienced the end of life in his body. At this point, we will hear Our Love is Here to Stay.
Very clear. Our love is here to stay. Not for a year, but every day. The radio and the telephones and the movies that we know may just be passing fancies, but in time may go. But oh my dear, our love is here to stay. Together we'll rockets may tumble, Gibraltar's may crumble, they're only made of clay. 'Cause our love is here to stay. Our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. The radio and the telephone and the movies that we know may just be passing fancies, but in time they go. But oh my dear, our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. In time the rockets may tumble, Gibraltar's may crumble, they're only made of clay. But our love is here forever, my dear. Our love is here to stay. Our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. In time, the rockets may tumble, Gibraltar's may crumble, they're only made of clay. 'Cause our love is here forever, my dear. Our love is here to stay.
The next reading to share with you is by Mary Elizabeth Fry. And this poem is titled, "Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep." Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry, I am not there, I did not die. Joni wishes at this time to remember the life of her nephew, Paul Metoyer. Paul died at the onset of the pandemic, and we will light a candle for Paul and have a moment of silence to remember him. We will begin our words of remembrance for Royal. One of his dear friends could not be here today, and so I will share those words from Lee Young. Lee Young says, I met Joni and Royal after 2000 through mutual jazz friends. We clicked immediately, but really bonded after Hurricane Katrina. My house in Algiers had no damage, and so I invited friends whose homes were damaged to stay with me. So for 3 months, Joni and Royal lived with me while they worked on their home on Vincennes and awaited a government trailer to live in on that property. I would go to my office in Civil District Court each day while they would head to Vincennes to work on their home. Often we would see friends who had lost their homes and invite them over for a home-cooked meal instead of the government MRI dinners. Joni and I are chatty gals, while Royal was the strong, silent type. I felt like he enjoyed listening to our extensive views on life and periodically would add his 2 cents. Each evening, we would discuss the day's events. I go to bed around 11 p.m. and up by 7 a.m. Joni stayed up late and Royal would hit the sack around 9 p.m. We used to kid that I would go to sleep with Joni and wake up with Royal. Those stressful times, it was also a mutual bonding experience that we will always share. I was so sad to see Royal's health deteriorating and spent many times at their home during his last months. I felt blessed to be with Royal in the last hours before his death and was able to give him a farewell kiss on the cheek. Forever fond memories of a kind and generous man who we all had grown to love. At this time, anyone who would like to come and share their words of remembrance are welcome to do so at this time.
Well, my name is Roger Evans. I worked with Royal for about 6.5 years. My co-worker Phil over here. And I think we all agreed being friends with somebody and working with somebody, totally two different things. But Royal was our friend. I never met a more professional, hardworking man. Never complained. I only saw him upset maybe twice a little bit. Never heard him use profanity, and he talked a lot about his wife, Joan, and I never had the opportunity to meet her until just a few moments ago. But like I said, from the first time I met Roel, I felt like I'd known him, and he was older than me, and I looked up to him a lot, and I learned a lot of his sayings, and they stuck with me. But like I said, getting back to my original statements, I never worked with a harder working man and a more of a gentleman. Just a kind, good-hearted guy. His whole countenance was a testament to what was right here. You know, so I'm gonna greatly miss Roel, believe me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Francis, and I'm his nephew. I didn't really know him, but if he was on Jody's side, I know that he was good.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kathy Muse. I met Joni when I was 20, a few years ago. And her family, her mom, Doe, and her dad, Lloyd, took me in and welcomed me warmly along with my soon-to-be husband, Rudy. And Joni's been like a sister to me ever since. We've shared a lot of ups and downs together. So I had the privilege of knowing Royal after Joni chose him as the one for many, many years. And he was everything that everybody says he was. He was so loved and liked by everyone. He was a man of few words, but when he uttered words, they were pretty wise. So he only said something when he had something to say, you know? But I just want Joni to know that we'll all be here for you. Going forward, I love you guys.
I'm not a person to talk in front of people, although I'm all day long. So I'm going to do this for Royal. Let's say every day I make it a practice to say what I'm thankful for. And today I'm especially honored to let it be known how thankful I am to have had Royal in my life. When I was 8, there was an afternoon. When I was 8, there was an afternoon that was particularly memorable. I was overwhelmed with a lot of anxiety, and no one at that age should have had to endure. That afternoon, I prayed with tears and to be rescued from the torment I was experiencing. This is when Royal came into my life. Then suddenly, without realizing it, I no longer felt the fear I felt every day. These feelings were replaced with a sense of comfort and freedom to be a child, a teen, protected, shielded from all the dangers in the world. I didn't have to worry about adult concerns. I was protected and acknowledged. He was always there, either sitting on the porch or in his recliner, content, just watching, minding his own business. He was there with a wise word here and there. He'd make his observations known if necessary, but was never forceful. He figured that if you needed to learn, you needed to do it on your own. He bore a quiet strength. I know he didn't like all the animals that I collected, but he did tolerate them because he knew how much they were needed for me. He never complained, but of course, when I left for the summer, they were all gone when I got back. However, he gladly allowed me to bring another to replace it. The moment that was most memorable and concluded what was meant to be our time on earth together was when he presented me to the society at a debutante ball. I was so proud to have the most handsome father at the ball. Looking back, I was able to enjoy those years from 8 to 18 because of Royal's presence. I now had fun growing up. I laughed and played without fear and adult stresses because of him. He was always there. He gave me something children need most: stability, caring. I felt important because of him. This allowed me to be a child, a teen, to become the free spirit I long to be. I'll forever be grateful to Royal for this opportunity. I was able to tell his story and thank him for those precious years. He immediately understood, and with very few words, but too much, for allowing me the privilege to properly say goodbyes to Royal when he was still very much the same man that I knew him to be. He was so amazing to see him sit in that comfortable chair as we all talked and laughed. He did what he always did, and that was to enjoy watching others converse and let them be who they are. I especially thank you for the visit where we shared our last meal together. I cannot tell you how meaningful this was for me. I'm filled with gratitude, Royal, and I'll see you on the other side. I say to you until we meet again, thank you eternally.
I'll just give a moment if anyone else wants to step up here and say some words.
Okay, I have to do it. Joni is my oldest friend. We've been friends since I moved here 50 years ago, worked together at the front desk of the Royal Sonesta. So we go way, way back. So I knew Royal extremely well and had nothing but respect for such a wonderful human being that he was. Everything everyone said is absolutely true, and he will be so missed. And one thing that will always stick in my mind is his 60th birthday party. Aaron as well. But anyway, honored to have known him and thankful that Joni has been such a dear friend, like a sister. So he's going to be missed.
So this is a poem that Lee Young wanted to share. It's by an unknown author. titled, I Heard Your Voice in the Wind Today. I heard your voice in the wind today, and I turned to see your face. The warmth of the wind caressed me as I stood silently in place. I felt your touch in the sun today, and its warmth filled the sky. I closed my eyes for your embrace, and my spirit soared high. I saw your eyes in the window pane as I watched the falling rain. It seemed as each raindrop fell, it quietly said your name. I held you close in my heart today. It made me feel complete. You may have died, but you are not gone. You will always be a part of me. As long as the sun shines, the wind blows, and the rain falls, you will live on inside of me forever, for that is all my heart knows. So we will now sing Blowing in the Wind, lyrics by Bob Dylan.
How many roads must a man walk out before you call him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, how many times must the cannonball fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years must a mountain exist before it's washed to the sea? And how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? How many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? And how many years must one man have before he can hear people cry? How many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. man walk down. Before you call him a man, how many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, how many times must a cannonball fly before they're ever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, and how many years must a mountain exist before it is washed to the sea? And how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? And how many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? And how many years must one man have before he can hear people cry? Yes, and how many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
So may the spirit of that beautiful music and all the beautiful words of love shared with Royal and in our hearts, may we carry that forward into the day. And there's a chance to continue those stories in the reception that you're welcome to attend as you exit on the left. And thank you all for coming in memory of Royal.